I thought about ways to introduce this review and all of them sucked. So I thought to myself, what if I just tell you things the way they are? I hate Soulslikes. I don't really hate them, but I kinda do. Let me explain. At first, playing a Soulslike felt like being lovingly slapped in the face by a video game. It hurt, sure, but in a way that made you come back for more, smiling through the tears. I was addicted to the challenge, with the mystery, and that sweet serotonin hit after being a boss on the 47th attempt. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Suddenly, every game developer with access to a dark color palette, cryptic lore on the stamina bar, decided they too could make a Soulslike. What was once a carefully crafted subgenre that feels like a crowded Halloween party where everybody showed up wearing the same Dark Souls costume. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't specifically hate Soulslike. I still think there is a lot to love, but I also think it is time for a change. A genre that was once defined by innovation has become predictable and bloated. In just the last 3 years, we've been hit with Lies of P, the first Berserker Kazan, Laws of the Fallen, Stellar Blade, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, and Wukong. At this point, I get anxious whenever a game features a stamina bar, like a Souls-like induced PTSD. Full disclosure though, I received a review code for Wuchang Fallen Feathers. That said, all thoughts are my own. Fun fact, I actually pre-ordered the game before getting the code, then I had to cancel it, which meant facing down the real final boss. PlayStation's refund policy. I was half expecting my request to be denied just for glancing at the game's store page. It didn't happen, I got my refund thankfully, but yeah. Anyway, I played Wuchang for 80 hours, damn. I beat every single main boss and unlocked all 4 endings, so yes, I've been around the block and back again. When I first saw that Wuchang Fallen Feathers was only 14 gigs on my base PS5, I got nervous. I've played demos bigger than that. In a world where games routinely demand 100 gigs installs and still launch broken, a $50 game that small had me bracing for the worst. Would it run like a PowerPoint slideshow? Would it be 5 hours long? Would I be scammed and feathered? Surprisingly, no. Despite the humble install size, Wuchang offers a substantial experience. A single playthrough will easily net you 20 hours, and completionists can tack on many more hours if they're chasing all 4 endings. But let's not pretend it's all sunshine and smooth frame pacing. Wuchang offers 3 different graphic modes: performance at 60 FPS, balance if you have a 120Hz display, and graphics, which is 30 FPS because I guess paint builds character. There's also a sharpness setting you can tweak to make the visuals crisper, which is a nice touch, and you can technically unlock the frame rate in performance mode, though doing so leads to screen tearing so violent that it feels like the game is trying to fight you off the screen. Very awkward. Even on the locked 60F mode, the game struggles to maintain stability during intense boss fights and even cutscenes. In some rare cases, the screen completely froze for 3 to 5 seconds. That only happened 5 times in my 80-hour playthrough, but once is already too many. If the devs are reading this or listening to what I'm saying, patch this please, I beg you. Still, when Wuchang behaves, it is a smooth and enjoyable ride. But much like a Souls boss, you are never 100% safe from a sudden freeze or unexpected betrayal. Wuchang is a Souls-like, which means there's only one difficulty: get good. Enemies hit hard, bosses hit harder and the only hand-holding you'll get is from your controller. That said, I found it surprisingly approachable, at least at first. Now, a bit of context. I'm one of those lunatics who finds joy in self-inflicted pain. I've beaten bosses without attacking, without getting hit, and once by only throwing punches. So when I say Wuchang is approachable, I don't mean it's easy, I mean it teaches you how to survive without dropkicking you into the sun on your first try. The first few bosses are extremely beatable, sometimes even falling in 1 or 2 attempts, excluding the traditional tutorial boss who exists only to kill you and crush your spirit. No, Wuchang even throws its own version of the legendary soldier of Godric or Rick the Technician, a normal enemy masquerading as a boss just to stroke your ego. But don't get too comfy. Once you reach the later chapters, bosses get angrier, faster, and way more aggressive. We're talking Promised Console Radan level aggression, or if you more up to date, picture a less flamboyant, but equally murderous Arlecchino. I'm not saying Wuchang is harder than those games, but it will give you a respectable run for your money. What I really appreciated though was the build flexibility. Wuchang encourages experimentation with different weapons, pendants and spells. You can easily swap things around to suit your style, and the game rewards creativity. I had fun theory crafting new builds and adjusting strategies mid-battle like a mad scientist with a sword. That said, combat isn't without its frustrations. Wuchang's arsenal is solid on paper. You get long swords, axes, dual blades, single blades, and spears, all viable, all available fairly early. Most folks will probably stick with the longsword since it's your starter weapon and has decent range, but the real fun comes from how you level them. Instead of upgrading individual weapons, you level up proficiency with a weapon type using specific materials. This means that once you invested in, say, spears, all spears benefit, not just the ones you're holding. It is a smart system, adding scaling differences between weapons and stat investment, and there's room for build variety. But then we hit a snag. The combat feels shallow. Wuchang's weapons moveset are fairly basic. If you're coming up from something like the first Berserker Kazan, a game where every weapon feels like its own class, Wuchang's combos will leave you underwhelmed. Even with the ability to swap between 2 weapons mid-fight via the swift draw mechanic, you've never really building complex strings. It's more like light, heavy, and hope you don't get hit back. The biggest letdown? Parries. Parrying in Wuchang is tied to special discipline skills. Think unique weapon-based techniques you can equip from the skill tree. Here's the problem though, you can only equip one at a time, which means you're sometimes forced to choose between offense and parrying. That's like asking players to pick between blocking and jumping. That's not a choice, that's a punishment. Worse still, not all weapons even allow parries. And even when you can parry, it's limited to weapon-based attacks only. That's right, no deflecting punches, kicks or magic. You can block a broadsword, but get gently kicked in the chin. Too bad, take the L. Oh, but it gets better. Halfway through the game, you unlock a spell that lets you auto-dodge for 3 to 4 seconds. Any incoming attacks during that window, evaded. And if it triggers, you get your spell energy refunded. Yes, that means you can spam it forever, provided it keeps activating. It is absurdly broken. So, on one hand, this game gives you a barely functional parry system that's locked behind skill slot and heavily restricted. On the other, it hands you a god mode dodge spell that trivializes boss fights. Guess which one most players were going to use. But hey, listen, I'm not saying deflecting every boss combo should be easy, but it should be at least satisfying and consistent. Right now, parrying in Wuchang feels like trying to do brain surgery with oven mitts on. It's clunky, unreliable, and overshadowed by much better tools. Devs, if you're listening, please, for the love of God and love of all things Soulslike, make Parries great again. Please. Wuchang has no shortage of build options. Want to go many heavy? Done. Fancy yourself a spell-slinging feather wizard? That's on the table too. The game gives you over 40 different spells, each with varying effects, ranging from buffs and projectiles to full-on anime nonsense. And while not all of them are practical, due to some costing too much and others hitting like wet noodles, I appreciate the diversity. The best part? No cooldowns. As long as you get enough Skyborn Might, you can cast spells back to back like you're trying to speedrun Magic Show. I built an entire run around maximizing throwable damage, and let me tell you, it worked. Actually, a little too well. But the real star of Wuchang build system is the madness mechanic. Your character is infected with the feathering disease, which is basically Wuchang's answer to Bloodborne's Beast Scourge or Lies of Peace petrification. The twist? Madness is a double-edged sword and you're the one sharpening it. Killing humans will raise your madness, killing disease monsters lowers it. Different madness thresholds grant unique perks, more damage dealt and taken, increased drop rates, reduced cost spells, and even faster weapon tempering. If you're willing to embrace the crazy, the game rewards you. But there is a catch. Yeah, of course there is. Die while at full madness and an inner demon, your own personal evil twin, spawns somewhere in the world carrying your lost red Mercury. To get it back, you have to find and defeat this shadow version of yourself. Think Bloodstain meets Pokemon Rival. And get this, your inner demon doesn't just wait patiently, it attacks everything. You can even use it tactically to wipe out tough enemies, which is honestly brilliant. The only downside? It doesn't spawn in boss arenas, which feels like a missed opportunity for some spicy mirror match chaos. Still, I loved the madness system. It's one of those few genuinely fresh ideas Wuchang brings to the Soulslike table. I just wish it went a bit further. Maybe a full demonic transformation at max madness. Then again, considering how underwhelming the phantom form was in Kazan, maybe it's for the best they actually held back. Wuchang's world design starts off fairly linear, your typical corridor to courtyard setup with a few spooky sidebars. But by chapter 2 or 3, the game begins to open up in unexpected ways, and that's where it gets interesting and a bit dangerous. Let me tell you a fun fact that's definitely not a cautionary tale. There is a ladder early on that, if taken, allows you to skip an entire chapter. An entire chapter. We're talking major NPC questlines, entire endings, powerful weapons, spells, outfits, and lore. Just gone. All because you decided to go down instead of up. It's like choosing between a sword and a sandwich, and the sandwich deletes half the game. This kind of branching path is cool in theory, but without any guidance and no map, of course, you're likely to miss a huge chunk of content on your first playthrough. Hell, even on my third cycle, I was still discovering new stuff, and I'm someone who comes through every rock like it owes me money. Speaking of which, can we talk about the snow zone? This charming little winter hellscape is easily the worst area in the game. Not because of the enemies, not because of the layout, no. It's the landmines. The entire area is basically a death trap dotted with invisible explosives, and you will step on them. Repeatedly. Every inch of the snowy field is booby-trapped, and the first time you realize this is usually the moment your character gets launched into the air like Team Rocket. Archers? Yeah, they're there too, and they will intentionally shoot at the mines to blow you up from a distance, because apparently they were trained by the US military. And let's not forget, no map, which means if you're looking for a specific NPC in this white on white nightmare, you're in for a full-on Where's Waldo Frostbite edition. Sure, you can drink soup to reduce frost buildup, but it won't protect you from the emotional trauma. This zone killed me more than any boss in the game, and yes, I'm including the late game god tier ones. One thing I did like, this game's decisions to not turn the world into boss rush. Between encounters there's a fair bit to explore, secrets to find, and lore to dig into, and especially if you don't take the cursed ladder shortcut. Also, pro tip, those random birds you keep seeing early on, kill them. Seriously, I thought they were just environmental flavor until I found out they drop feathers that give you temporary buffs like increased max health, damage, or stamina. I spent 5 hours admiring them before realizing I was supposed to commit bird-based murder. Classic Soulslike. One of Wuchang's strengths is how much freedom it gives you to tailor your playstyle. You can rock a full knight set, a flowing robe, or go full edgelord, and thanks to Transmog being unlocked from the start, you can look cool without sacrificing stats. Passion Souls is alive and well. That said, while outfit diversity is nice, switching gear doesn't feel that important. You quickly realize that it's almost always better to prioritize resistance to status effects over raw defense. In particular, Despair and Poison, aka Blight, which are real killers. Despair instantly kills you once the meter fills up, and Blight reduces your max health for an uncomfortably long time. Stylish armor won't save you from that nonsense. Now let's talk about healing items. You've got a lot of them, almost too many. Healing vases, regenerative herbs, consumables that heal over time, soup that nullifies frostbite buildup, the list goes on. Many of these are acquired through emotes, NPC rewards, or by spreading madness at shrines. It's an interesting system, but it's also kind of a mess. Because here's a kicker. Your default healing flask, the one that's supposed to be your lifeline, is also the worst way to heal. It's slower than any other healing item, like unnecessarily slow, and there were moments I hit the heal button, saw Wuchang pull out the potion and thought, wow, this would be a great time to update my driver's license. I can't count how many deaths I racked up just because I was stuck in the world's most dramatic drinking animation. It almost reminded me of healing in Callisto Protocol. They were equally frustrating. It's like she's savoring the flavor while getting impaled. Meanwhile, quicker items heal you over time, but they're faster to use and often more effective. It's completely backwards. Why make the one healing item that can actually be upgraded the least practical? that doesn't make any sense. On the plus side, having these many options does allow you to go on long expeditions without constantly resting at shrines, which would reset enemies. It's especially helpful in large areas like the snowy minefield zone from hell. Also worth shouting out, the buff system in Wuchang is surprisingly impactful. You can craft builds around throwables, spells, ailments, or even healing boosts. I built, like I said before, an entire run based around maximizing damage with throwables, and it absolutely slapped. Think ninja meets baseball pitcher with anger issues. Expect some fun runs in the future, like spell only, fist only, throwables only, all viable, all entertaining. Subscribe for more. Despite its flaws, and there are few, Wuchang Fallen Feathers might be the most Souls-like I've played in a while. It has secrets, layered lore, multiple endings, and meaningful replay value. It rewards curiosity and punishes arrogance just like the classics. Sure, combat could use more depth, and combo variety is limited. Weapon skills are a bit basic, and some spells are either too weak or hilariously overpowered. But between the flashy moves, the flexibility of builds, and the ever-present threat of dying to your own overconfidence, it still delivers that Souls-like tensions, just with some clunky caveats. Even without a guide, I nearly hit the Platinum Trophy, and I kind of loved that. I pieced together questlines myself, explored new paths across multiple New Game Plus cycles, and kept uncovering new content even after 80 hours. That's rare, and it deserves praise. That said, Wuchang isn't perfect. The game desperately needs a map. Seriously, listen, if you played Wukong, you realize that that game has the single best map I've ever seen in a game, both when it comes to utility and design. So I would like Wuchang to take a page off of Wukong's book and make maybe the second best map ever in a video game. So yeah, we need a map, we need a performance patch, especially for those 4 or 5 seconds freezes. We need parries that actually work, and maybe lastly an exorcism for that snowy minefield area. And even with all that, this is still well priced, content rich, and surprisingly ambitious game. If you're craving another Souls-like and you are willing to overlook some jank in exchange for a unique experience, Wuchang is worth your time. Just don't trust the birds, kill the birds, and be careful. There's one bird you can kill, or you have to be very careful trying to kill. I fear no man, but that bird terrifies me. I'll see you around.